Maximize your wealth now.
Yes, in business, finance, family, and lifestyle. Think about it. As a certified financial educator, my whole goal for this program originally was to bring business and finance together with spiritual principles and universal laws. And all of it needs to come from the heart. Got it?
Maximize your wealth now.
Absolutely. Yes!
Welcome back to Maximize Your Wealth Now in business, finance, family, and lifestyle. And today is going to be awesome. You're going to love this today because we are talking about Tantra. And we have Moneeka Sawyer with us, and she's got some amazing insights on how we can utilize Tantra to change our lives and create bliss. Isn't that awesome? It's beyond awesome. I can't wait to hear all about Tantra energy. Yes. Oh my gosh. And we also have joining us Neal Sperling. He has met every high roller on the planet. Okay, I don't want to back up, not really. But he has met some very important people, and the way he's done that is through connecting. And he's going to share with you some really wonderful stories about who he's met, how he met them, and how you can meet the people that you want to meet by taking a few steps. So I'm excited to have Neal here today to share his golden nuggets with you.
I'm excited about that too, because I have people I want to meet and I want to know exactly how to do it, and he's got the answers for us. So we're really looking forward to having him on there too.
That's right. So we'll be right back.
Moneeka Sawyer has been coaching executives in the Silicon Valley for the past 10 years. Her unique approach to leadership supports clients from artists and solopreneurs to high-tech startup CEOs in the process of discovering their own sense of personal leadership style. Moneeka's techniques create a whole new sense of power, energy, and excitement in their businesses and in their lives. She loves the power, playfulness, and daring of using Tantra to make us all our very best selves. Moneeka teaches how to understand your own innate energetic makeup for improving communications, creating more fulfilling relationships, and becoming a more effective leader in all areas of life. She wrote the celebrated book Choose Bliss and is a celebrated speaker nationwide.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the set. We are so excited because we have Moneeka with us today, and she is going to share about Tantra. So I really want you to perk up your ears and listen to what she has to say, because her information is going to change your life. We're so happy you're here with us, Moneeka.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I want you to start off right away and tell us how it is that you got started with this secret technique for energy.
Okay. So I was born in Middle America, and I was the only non-white person in my town. And so I got tormented and teased and bullied incessantly. So by the time I was in high school, I was tired. I was tired of getting beat up, and I was tired of not having any control over my life. And so, you know, I just decided this was it. It was time for me to just move forward. You know, I needed a change, and I needed it now. So I started to search, and then in my sophomore year in high school, the summer after that, I found the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Have you read this book?
Yes, I have.
Everybody I know that's doing anything has read that.
Right? It was a game changer, right?
Yes.
And so he interviewed 500 successful millionaires to find out what they had done to be successful. And one of the things that he found is that without an exception, every successful person practiced the principles of sexual transmutation, which he covers in chapter 11. So now just think about this, right? I'm a 16-year-old girl, and I'm like, sex? Really? Ooh, that's cool. Sex and success? That's even cooler. So I start to study, and I started reading books and started my own practice on my own without anybody else. And I want to be really, really clear here that this is not a sexual practice. A lot of people think of Tantra as sex. It's not a sexual practice. It's the utilization of sexual energy, which is a completely different thing. Right? As a matter of fact, if you have sex with the wrong person, it can completely muddle this energy, right?
That happened to me. Right. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, so like energetically, you don't want to muddle things. You want to be really, really careful because this is so powerful. Anyways, got back to school. I was in the 11th grade, and out of the blue, my peers nominated me to be class president and ran a campaign, and I won. And these are peers that didn't know anything about who I was just a year before.
Wow. Okay, so wait a minute. So you learned about Tantra energy, and doing that, you went from being bullied and beat up to president of the class?
Are you right?
Whoa!
Yeah, we have so much control. Like in our culture here, we really put a huge emphasis on the mind, and the mind is an amazing tool. And we do need to focus on that. However, it's not all that we are. We are an entire being, top to bottom, energetically, physically, and our mind and our spirit. From the age of 16, and I continue to practice and continue to use this with my clients, and have for over 30 years.
And how is it working out for you with your clients?
So my clients, it's really, this is really funny. So I have been an executive coach. And so normally we start with, regular executive coaching things. We're going to do time management and goal setting and blah, blah, blah. And then we discover...
Surprise!
Just so you know. And then we discover blocks. Like why are they hitting their own personal glass ceiling, right? And when we start to hit those blocks is when we start to talk about their energetics, their energetic blocks, their energetic power. Why are they not stepping in their own unique footprint of power that they were designed to be here for? And so that's how we use our energetics and Tantra to help them to step into that power. Now, up until recently, I haven't been calling it Tantra. I've been calling it chakra work and energy work, but gosh darn it, it's Tantra, and it's time we call it that because it's so much bigger than what anybody has ever believed it to be in this culture, and it's time we get it. It's time we get how powerful this is and that we can use this to magnetize what we want and to mobilize the people around us to make an impact and have the lives that we dream of.
That's so great. I mean, that's really brilliant, right?
Yes.
I mean, to use that energy. So I'm like dying to know, how do you get that energy to work for you?
Okay, when we're talking about Tantra, the big thing about Tantra is that it's about sexual energy. Okay, so when we are aligning our chakras, which is the foundation of all Tantra work, you align your chakras, and we do a bunch of practices around that. And then once you're clean and unblocked and in your power, then you 10x it by juicing it with your sexual energy. So you're going to ignite it and harness it, and then you're going to pour it through all your chakras and your entire energetic system and your aura and everything. And that's when you become like the true leader that you were supposed to be.
Wow.
Yeah, baby. That's all I gotta say.
And we don't have to have sex with someone else. I mean,
No. As a matter of fact, most of the tantric practices have nothing to do with sex.
so how come it's so prevalent here in the West?
Because that's exciting. Sex sells, right? Everybody's like, oh, sexual energy. Let's talk about sex. It's really unfortunate, too, because when you're that open and you have these sort of weird ideas of what this is, that weird energy now enters your physical body, your energy field, and your auric field. And now that's what you're bringing out into the world. So if you're able to instead harness it yourself, activate it yourself, then you now have power over that rather than giving the power away.
Okay, that makes me have another question.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay, so my next question would be, if we're taking all that sexual energy and we're blowing it through our chakras in our body, do we have some left if we do want to have sex with somebody?
We do. And actually there are ways to maintain it. So as you study Tantra more, and then you do bring a partner into your practice. So I didn't have a partner in my practice for 10 years. But then once I brought him into my practice, there were things that I could do with him and on my own to maintain my energy, release my energy, spread my energy. Once you know how to control it, there's all sorts of cool things you can do with it. And here's the thing. It was given to us by our Maker. It doesn't disappear. You can scatter it, you can dissipate it by exploiting it and not using it properly. But if you start to learn how to ignite that, you will always have access to it on the drop of a dime, anytime you need it.
Wow.
I'm excited.
Talk about power, right?
Right? Yeah.
Oh my
Now,
goodness.
you wrote a book about this, and I would love it if you would share about your book.
Okay.
And what's in that? Are we going to find all these juicy tidbits in that book?
So the book does not have about Tantra, but there's a missing chapter.
Oh.
So anybody who buys the book can just go online and contact me, and I will send them the missing chapter about Tantra, which does give you a lot of the tidbits on sort of what Tantra is, my view on it, and how you can start to use that in your life.
Sexually?
So yeah, sexually, personally, in your life. The actual chapter is not about the whole sexual piece, but what the sexual energy is.
Okay, Moneeka.
I'm curious to know, Lori, what was your biggest aha during the class?
Figuring out how to say what I do in 4 to 5 words. This has been so exciting because now when I network and someone asks me what I do, I can say it so succinctly and very excited to the point that women say, I want to work with you.
Oh, wow. Talk about change. You know, I'm a change agent here. And I tell you, I was resistant. And I did move forward and I did risk only because Shirlene was so gentle and supportive for that process.
I am so excited to be able to reach so many women now, whereas before it was one-on-one. And now I can reach the masses.
The masses. Massive visibility for massive income, right?
Yes.
What could we take away to do today that would change the state of our energy? We might need that while we're on the set today.
Yeah. So there's a couple of techniques I can give you. So first we can, and you can tell me which one you would like, because I'm not sure we'll have time for both. We could just do a breathing exercise, which will ground you and activate, or you can do an energy bubble, which is my favorite technique.
Oh,
Energy
let's
bubble.
do the energy bubble.
Energy bubble.
Sounds good. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're just going to take a deep breath into your heart. And just kind of imagine that there's a little green light in there and it's starting to sparkle as you breathe into that. And it gets bigger and bigger and it just fills your heart up. So take another deep breath and get that sparkly green heart energy going. And now, whoever you're with, look at them and then just sort of see the space around them. And you're going to want to set points around you to where you want the bubble to be. So for instance, in this situation, I would pick points behind you guys above and below, and then behind myself because I want to be included. And so you're setting up sort of this sacred space, okay? And then you're going to breathe into your heart, and you're going to send that energy out into the bubble and just fill it up. So you're going to it's as if you're breathing out of your heart and you're just filling up that bubble. And what's really fascinating about this is that when you do this, you find that it's like the rest of the world falls away. When you're having a conversation, it's just you and me. If you're in a meeting and you want a bunch of people to focus on you and there's other stuff going on around you, suddenly all that stuff falls away and everybody's focused on you. You know, so you can really fill that space with really good energy so people feel good, they're able to focus, and the rest of the world falls away. And it's super useful. It's useful in a boardroom, in a meeting, in your relationships, whether it's with your spouse or your children. In school, if you really want to focus, if you're in a class, you can set up that bubble with you and the teacher, and suddenly you are able to completely focus. So this is, I have to say, my favorite technique, and I use it all the time.
Awesome. Did you do that with us before you sat down?
I did. I did.
Well, thank you so much for
My
the
pleasure.
Love Bubble experience.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I really enjoyed it. Didn't you enjoy it? Now we know the answer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really
know
great.
the answer.
Really great. I love being able to pull our energy and pull people into our energy field so that we get their attention and their love.
That's exactly right.
Wonderful.
And that's what leadership really is, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about being able to be in your power and mobilize the people around you and make an impact so they feel you and they want to follow you and they enjoy what you're saying, right?
Wow. Beautiful.
So,
Absolutely beautiful.
Hi, I'm Moneeka Sawyer, and I help people to connect with their deep wisdom, strength, and joy. Do you often feel disconnected with life? Things happen. That's life. But in my amazing new book, Choose Bliss, you'll learn 12 keys to help you to connect quickly with your inner wisdom and achieve emotional balance. Choose Bliss today. I promise it'll change your life forever.
Neal Sperling is the founder and CEO of a global business strategic advisory service that has advised startups, mid-cap companies, nonprofits, and very high net worth individuals. Neal has connected clients with individuals who have changed their lives for the better and have even helped them to fulfill their unique life's purpose. Hence, he's been called a world-class connector. At last count, he has connected with over 50 billionaires, the President of the United States, U.S. Vice President, various heads of state, prime ministers, a 5-star military general, governors, mayors, and 14 Nobel laureates, inclusive of 9 Nobel Peace Prize winners. He's additionally connected with Academy Award-winning actors, directors, producers, Pulitzer Prize-winning authors, sports legends, artists, inventors, astronauts, and explorers. Recently, Neal developed several masterminds to reveal simple techniques that can help anyone to think more abundantly and connect more successfully with a vaster range of people across multiple fields.
You know that you are a connector, and that's been something that I really honor and respect about you, because I know it takes techniques and work to be a connector with people, and you really have to know how to do it, right? You have to know how to get out there and connect with people, and that's something that you're an expert at. So tell us how you first found out and discovered that you were a connector.
Well, that's actually very interesting. I've probably been doing this most of my life without thinking about it. But there was a day where I was with somebody at a business meeting, and he said, hey, would you like to come across the street and meet Robert Allen? Robert Allen's this 5-time best-selling author in the New York Times. And I thought, that's great, because I knew his work, and it was an exciting thought. So we went across the street, and he was just getting ready to go on stage when I just literally bumped into him face to face. And I knew that I had to make an instant decision, so I said, Mr. Allen, could I have your card? And generally people at that level have 2 cards. They have the card and the card. And,
That's right.
He was thinking about going on stage. He was very focused. So he reached into his pocket. He gave me the card.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't call him for 6 months. And finally, I picked up the phone. And I said, Mr. Allen, this is Neal Sperling. We met 6 months ago. And he said, we met 6 months ago? Who are you? And I said, Neal Sperling. And he said, well, why are you calling me now? And I said, because I didn't have anything to say to you 6 months ago. But I do now, and I didn't want to waste your time. And so I thought, that's one of the important things, is to really respect other people's time. And he was still confused, so he said, well, send me an email. So I sent him an email, and I listed 6 people that I thought that could help benefit his business that I knew that I was thinking that perhaps he didn't. And I was right. He called me back and he purred like a kitten and he said, Neal, this is very nice. and so he invited me over to his home. And I got to meet his wife. We spent about 3 hours together. And after 3 hours, he looked at my business card. He says, you know, you're not a business development and marketing guy. And I said, I'm not? And he said, no, you're a connector. And I said, what's that? Because I honestly didn't know. And I had to go home and look it up on the internet. But because of that, he helped establish my brand. So it was a very beneficial day.
Wow. Absolutely. So that's really, a great story about how you became a connector, right? So the next question I have is, I know that you did a TED Talk. Do you want to share a little bit about how that came about?
Yeah, well, when I realized that there's actually an art and science to connecting, I went in and I studied that, and I realized there are rules of engagement, there's rules of reciprocity, and rules of authentication. And for people to successfully connect, you really have to think about those rules. And the first rule is just show up. You have to be present, and you have to be available and accessible. The second rule is follow up. That's the hardest rule I find for many people to do for whatever reasons, and the follow-up is really the key. I went to an event, it was all about this new thing called the internet, and Al Gore was the keynote speaker, and they had amazing people like Michael Eisner, who was then head of Disney, Barry Diller, Geraldine Laybourne, who was head of the UPN network, Quincy Jones, luminaries. We broke for lunch, went outside, I was wandering around, and I just sat down to rest my buns. And I'm sitting right next to an interesting gentleman who was one of the speakers later in that afternoon. And I kept looking around for Michael Eisner. I was looking to connect with Michael Eisner, and he was sitting next to me. He said, what do you think? I was telling him, you know, I don't know much about this new thing called the internet, but what I do think is that if anyone is going to get involved with it, they'd want to do it through a medium that's comfortable, like brick and mortar stores, and they'd have some kind of coupons or incentives, and then through that they would like get involved with the internet, and then you give it to them for free for a while so they could test drive it, and then you sell them a subscription. And he looked at me and he said, well, that's exactly what we've been talking about doing. So we got into this conversation, and I'm still not invested in the conversation. I kept looking around, you know, where's Michael Eisner? And the man I was sitting next to in this, I guess, polyester suit with this not very expensive looking tie was Steve Case, founder of AOL.
Wow.
And he had invited me to come look around, and I didn't follow up. And it's really not about your agenda. You need to be open and present to what's happening, and the universe will often show up when you least expect it.
Oh, I love that. And I fully believe that with all my heart. You know, I think there's 4 rules of engagement. Is that right? 4 rules?
There are 4. The first 2 are the show up and the follow up, and then the rest I teach in my course. But I find that basically it's all about the same concept, which is that you have to really think about, it's not only about common interests. You know, common interests bring people together, but I always counsel my clients and my students that common values, common perspective, and common personalities keep people together.
I'm often asked how to go about finding the right training and certification company for your professional coaching business. The problem is that finding the right professional coach training and certification company can feel overwhelming and confusing. The good news is that it doesn't have to be difficult if you know what questions to ask. Searching for the right professional coach training and certification company to suit your needs can be challenging. Finding a company with flexibility that's globally accepted, affordable, and credible can feel like a tough search. So I'd like to give you a few things to consider when looking for a professional coach certification company that will suit your needs. Tip number 1, you want to make sure that your company is proven in the marketplace. The reason we've trained over 6,000 professional coaches is because we teach a system of coaching. The coaching system is easy to learn and easy to implement. Tip number 2, you want to make sure you work with a company that is affordable. Some companies charge upwards of $10,000 to $15,000, which is unnecessary. You can get a third-party accredited education for under $1,000. Tip number 3, you want to find a training that doesn't drag on for a year or even longer. You will benefit by jumping in and moving forward, and after all, coaching isn't difficult if you have the right training. At Wainwright Global Institute of Professional Coaching, we help individuals just like you who want to make a difference in the world become certified professional coaches with only 16 hours of live online training that's affordable and easily accessible. To learn more, simply go to lifecoachtrainingonline.com, where you can access our free ebook about 52 different coaching niches working miracles every day. Or call us at 800-711-4346. We're happy to help you determine the best professional coach training for your needs.
If I wanted to meet the President of the United States, what would you recommend as the first step that I take?
Bill Clinton was notorious for being a super connector himself. Yeah. And he was frequently the kind of person who would take time with everybody, and he made you feel special, like you were the most important person in the room, which itself is a tip that I've learned.
Nice.
But it would happen to be that day that I was with a very attractive woman, and I had been cleared by the Secret Service to go in the back in the kitchen of what was the Getty Museum, and there was a crowd of about 500 people, and I knew that I was leaving her unattended. And I thought it would be 20 minutes, but as I learned, the president likes to take his time with people. So about an hour and a half later, he finally was going through the receiving line, and it was my turn. And I've learned with a lot of people that you need to create a special, memorable moment.
There you go.
And also show your appreciation, and you can do that in various ways. So at this point, it was my turn, and I looked at him and I said, well, Mr. President, it's an honor to be here, but I would like to let you know that I've made the ultimate sacrifice for my country. And he looked at me and he said, oh, and I said, I want you to know I have a drop-dead gorgeous date. She's outside, and right now she is unattended. But I'm here because I really, really wanted to be here. And he says, well, you better hurry on back. And I said, are you kidding me? Not before I give you this. So I'd actually had a book on the saxophone, which is, you may remember, was his favorite instrument.
Right.
The club that I was part of was called the Saxophone Club. His eyes lit up and they were dancing like silver dollars when I handed him the book, because everyone had autographed it and signed it as a present from us to him. It's really important, I think, to give some thought to what you're going to do before you meet somebody.
That's so great. That was a great tip. So did we learn a lot right now? Stay connected, follow up, huge message, right? And establish some kind of rapport with who it is that you're going to connect with. Know what lights them up. Like you knew that he would light up with a saxophone, anything saxophone, right? And
well, I think it's important to give a person a gift in many forms. It can even be with the sense of humor. You really want to engage with people on their own level. You want to be authentic, and you want to think of the conversation from their own interests as opposed to your own.
So didn't we promise you an awesome show today? I know you learned so much from Moneeka, and I know that you learned a great deal from Neal. I've certainly learned from both of them, and it's been a lot of fun learning entirely new things, don't you think?
Well, Tantra energy is powerful, and I'm looking forward to putting it to work in my life. And then learning how to connect and follow up and all the important rules of engagement is really special. And I thank you very much for being on our set, Neal.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See you next week.